hot. Whole new day. I'm tired. I did not film a whole bunch of stuff yesterday because this panel turned into work like rapidly. Got extremely hot in the garage. I got dehydrated, so I was just pushing through trying to find a good breaking point, which was mainly getting all the fabrication or the heavy fabrication done on this piece. I was hoping to get it in primer yesterday. That obviously didn't happen, so that'll be today's goals, to get it in primer. It's going to take quite a bit of prep work to get this all sanded down and everything, but before I do that, I'm going to do some more test fitment stuff. I did get my other relay in. These are 220 volt relays, so they'll pass 220 through with 110 volt coil, because you'll flip it on with your 110 volt switch. Anyway, so this is exactly what this is going to look like inside. You see, completely takes my dinner out. We checked it yesterday. But what I want to do is, this is that switch I told you about. I got to put the other contactors on here yet, but this is one that's going to go in the middle. It's going to be extremely long. I want to make sure that that fits, and maybe just a couple other pieces. I'm actually going to mount in the panel, check clearances, make sure it all works, so that I don't get this all paint and realize that I got to do, I got to go back to hardware mode and do more fab work. So we'll get through that. Hopefully that all checks out. To get this thing to take paint, it has this really weird protective cover on here. It's like a really hard paint, most likely because it's the NEMA box and it's got to be weatherproof and everything. But in order to get the paint to stick, we actually got to get sanded through all of this and get it down to not metal. We don't need bare metal, but get down to this underlayer under this clear coating. It's almost like a gel coat on here. Get down below that. I might actually try to, this has got a real weird orange peel ripple effect on it. I might try to get through that a little bit and sand it down just a little bit to where when I do paint it, it's not looking all weird. Does not need to be a professional quality paint job, but I do want it to look good. So yesterday, got all this in. I'd done some filming. I forgot my voltmeter. I cut that in. That was also a pain. I do got a little nippet there where this got away from me. So I thought about welding that in, but I think I'm just gonna touch it with a little bit of Bondo, because I have to fix this with Bondo as well. And this is just for aesthetics. I'm never gonna see this. I could paint it. It would be fine. It's completely functional, but I'm that guy. And since I gotta pull it out anyways for this, what I ended up doing is these cutouts for these, and this worked out just like I wanted. All right, so here's my 110 volt, and that will screw in just like that. I think I do got to put a couple of screws up here because I want to hold it in 2 spots. Forgot about that, I guess. But they fit in there like that, which looks great. And I put a bead of silicone on there. It's gonna do exactly what I want. This is like 1 5/8 inches. Thinking I use 1 3/4 inch hole saw on this, and it was way too large. I actually had a gap around the side where I could actually see into the box, and that was a no joy. So I welded the insert back in and re-drilled it. This is not the best patch job. If I was doing something on like a car or something, I'd definitely fill that in better, but it'll work for what I'm doing here. But what I ended up doing is knocking this out with 1 1/2 inch hole saw, and then just like on this side, just took and the timers too, is just kind of filed it to get that last little piece, and this is a very, very tight fine line, but exactly what I was hoping to do. So this will be my 3 temp probes. Those fit in there pretty well. I did in drilling this, the drill bit actually came through, and I took off some of the threads on this back plane bolt. I'll have to break out my rethread kit on that and just clean up the threads, but nothing too serious. But so that's where today will be, is final fitment and get this prepped and primer so that I can get paint on it and get into the wiring. I did get the last of my parts, minus anything I might need to run to the hardware store. I do need to get some stuff for the electrical wiring yet to go into the box, and some screws and stuff. But I got my other contactor, and I got this shipment in. And even though this isn't necessarily local, this is a small business that I ordered from. I ordered from like I think 3 or 4 suppliers to get everything, but it's just really cool. They sent us to me in a pizza box. Never ordered from these guys before, but they seemed legit and had some good quality stuff. But I have 2 heating elements. These are 2 5500 watt Ripple ultra low watt densities with a triclover. That'll be part of this build process too, is getting that into the kettles. I also ordered a false bottom for my small kettle so I can still do brew in a bag. This will sit in there. It's got the standoffs. It's all stainless steel, and then the element will be in the kettle below that. Just super excited about the whole deal, you know. And then this comes in unwrap the other one. It comes in newspaper, you know, local to the area. It's just kind of cool stuff, I guess. It's all good quality stuff. So more to follow on this. I'll probably test fit to see if this thing fits today. I'm a little concerned because I do got a bunch of ports and stuff in there, but we'll figure that out if we run into an issue. So here we go. Okay, I got one of my shop lights up there. I'm really meaning to get another fluorescent above me, but you know, it's on my list. I'm gonna go ahead and whip up these contacts. I'll probably cover it more here in a bit, but looking at this stuff, you got an NO and a C, so that's normally open, normally closed, which means at the rest state when the switch is off, that's what it's at. Man, I gotta take that off the mount too. Oh, that's gonna suck. Here we go. Biggest thing with kind of anything is feel like it ain't right. It's not going, don't force something. Especially with plastic stuff, that's how it'll snap. So normally closed. I need that for something else. So this is the LED contact, and then I need to double stack 2 normally openings. And this will, of course, I'll get wired up later on the panel and everything. This is gonna be a big girl here. So this is all for not Plan B is I just don't have the LED on there. Something I really need to make an adjustment, but I think it'll go. It's just gonna be really tight. Put the back plane in. Woo! Woo! That's really tall. What are we at? About 3/4. Quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, but definitely deep. So next piece will be these guys. So we'll put my switches in here in the bottom and make sure that it's going to clear that DIN rail. Out of this. Uh-oh. Did you take it apart? I can't remember how it goes back together. Time to take another switch apart. Here. Click. Anyway, so they're only going to get one normally open contact. I just need that to, that's on, that's on. That's all I need. So I don't need a block on the other side. Whereas this is a three-way, so it's on one contactor, off, no contactors doing anything on, the other contactors going on. So this is what I want to check. Is this first? Here's a look. It is. It's definitely snug. Oh, I gotta show you guys this how tight this is. So you see here, I was hoping I could go down further, which I might be able to, but I still got to be able to mount this thing, so it's probably going to end up going, at the very least, like right there, which may work just fine, actually. You see, like I said, how this is going to clear that U, and also part of the concern is these outlets, or these switches, are actually going to be, scratch that, up here is going to be my pumps. That might be its home right there. She's tight, but it's going to take it, so great news. Look here, my outlets are going to go right there, so I have enough room. To wire. A lot happening in a little space. I may check these here too, just to make sure that it doesn't hit this lip right here. I'd measured it out quite a few times. It was pretty close, but again, before I start into it here, maybe I'll check those two. Already got this one in. You can see, well, the camera just doesn't do justice there of how close that is. We're talking less than a quarter, but it clears. And these are just LEDs, so they're it's thin. If I was running into a clearance issue, though, I could flip this contactor to the other side, so it wouldn't be as deep on this side, and I'll do the same on this side. If it's close, I'll flip it in rather than have it on the outside. And I'm ready to go ahead and drill these couple other holes that I wanted for this to help hold that outlet in. I don't want it to be flimsy when I'm plugging in and out all the time. And get the Bondo on here and start getting ready for paint. Alright, got these couple holes in here now. Clean the burrs and everything. This is just a 8/32 bolt. These will go through and get held with the nut on the back, and then this goes on just like you would have an outlet cover on. So pull that in there pretty secure. Go ahead and start on Bondo here, I think. I've gotten the majority of the sanding done. I did get the Bondo on. Did not show that. Nobody wants to see me sand for like an hour and a half, to include myself. Touched that up with a little bit of Bondo. This is 16 gauge, so it's plenty strong enough for that little cut to just be filled. This outer coating is extremely tough. It was all I could do to get it taken down to just under the paint, or just to the base coat paint with the 80 grit, like a 60, like 40 grit would be ideal. But I did kind of get it there. See Most of the stuff I got down to where it's, you know, flat-ish. I did go ahead and put a dab of Bondo on some of these spots to clean it up. I flattened that out, cleaned it up, and put some on the inside too. Mix up way more than I needed. I was done with 80 grit. I'm probably going to hit it with a like a 220 or 320 on kind of the larger surfaces real quick with a mini V8, and then go ahead and start getting all my dust cleaned up, and we'll get to the next step of this and try to get it in primer. See my panel, front panel anyways now, because I've separated them. Did get through the metal on the corners, happens. Fix my little spot there. Took it all down, like I said, with 80, and then down to a 220, so hopefully I don't see scratch marks through the primer. I'm going to touch up some of the spots inside here. I'm going to touch up a couple spots on the inside, and then we'll see where we get with it. Big thing with doing paint is you get it down so you don't see your sand lines. Hopefully, look, I'm a garage painter, hobbyist at best, but definitely not a professional painter. There's one on here watching this. Feel free to tear me up. But anyways, you know, get it down so you're not seeing your scratch marks, and then it's got to be clean. I'm going to turn off all my fans. I'm going to wet down the floor so I keep dust at a minimum. I'm going to wash, or I've already blown this off. I'm going to hit it with a wax and grease remover, so paint prep it. And I'm going to, right before I spray, I'm going to hit it with a tack cloth and take off anything. And again, this is a brew panel. It's not a car or anything like that, but I definitely don't want any, like, every time I look at the panel, like, oh, look at that big splotch where a fly, you know, got on it or whatever. So, and I mean, the paint is like, where did I look at paint? The paint is this cool metallic color. Got like some kind of like you'd see like a pearl or something in there. God knows what that is in a cheap, you know, $6 can of Rust-Oleum, but hopefully it looks cool. Otherwise, I got like a dark charcoal gray, kind of looks like an electrical panel as a backup. We'll see. Big thing, get it on in primer here. This is, I'm going to use this because this is actually a lot faster drying. I can, it is dry to the touch in an hour, meaning I should be able to sand it. Yeah, I should be able to sand this and potentially get it in paint, and it could dry overnight, and then maybe it'll be ready to handle in the morning, or I could hit it with a Nebco a little bit too and do a quicker dry. We'll see, you know, or just let it sit for a couple days. But I'm going to wipe this down and start getting to the next piece here. Grab that there. So everything's taped and taped off. Hit with wax and grease remover, it's up out of the way. Should be able to hit everything with paint. That's good news. Hit all this with tack cloth real quick. See here too, when I've taped this off, I have, no, not as much, but I have a little bit of gap because I want to be able to hit that bare metal. I don't have the tape stuck right to it. I want the spray to get in there. way heavier than it looks. So heavy that the hook gave out and let it drop on the ground. So it's sustained its first drop test. I'm super excited about it. So this should be good to go. Fold this so I know that that's dirty. Oh yeah. Made a hardware run. Big box store. Had a combination square, which I could have used the other day. It was blue. It was a blue box store. Needed screws to be able to mount my temp probes, so those should fit real nice and clean. Those were a number 4 at 3/8 of an inch. Should just go into the box and drop them everywhere here. Cable connector. I like the thread-on ones, but of course I can't seem to find anybody that has anything else. Snap-on one will work. It's not ideal for me, but it'll work. So I needed at least 3/4 of an inch inside to. I can use my trusty new combination square. I needed 3/4 of an inch inside because of the size cable I'm using. That's about 7/8, and then the outsides, that's about 1.125. So I'm going to have to go drill one more level on my unibit on the main box to be able to take this, but not too big of a deal. Still waiting on the primer to dry so I can do a real quick wet sand. Here's my false bottom test fit. Really excited about how this thing looks in here. I was a little concerned with having my ports and everything on that side, but it actually fits really well. I love this kettle. It was the first kettle I got. I think I got it from Walmart back in the day when I first went to All Green. God, like 7 years ago now, something like that. Like a glove. So I'm going to start doing a wet sand on this. Got a little run over here. I was trying to like lay it on heavy enough to the saw blade got away from me and actually came out and like riveted it into the metal here and dinged it. Hopefully I don't need to put like a little glaze or something on it. Hopefully it'll sand out. It's not like this like high build primer or anything. Here it is. Camera makes it look way worse than it is, but we'll see what it does here. Try this 400 here first.
Maybe that'll take it. We'll see. A couple other spots here too. I'll dry that. Get with a little bit more primer and see if that'll build up, and I don't have to like put anything else on it. Try not to Bondo or anything again. Stuff gets real. You do make like little creams, like a glaze, like I was saying, but I don't have that right now. I'm not going to make another trip to town. I think I can build a primer up easy enough and do what I need to do. Okay, I let the primer dry long enough to go do a quick wet sand, so I hit it with some 800 grit and block. Burned through in a couple spots, but then you take it down to bare metal, so it's still okay. The paint will adhere just fine. Look out on the light, make sure scratch marks and stuff were out, so should be ready to do this. This stuff says Rico times 10 minutes, and then it says fully dry in 30 minutes, which is crazy. But I think we'll try to get like 3 coats, 4 coats on this maybe. After that 30-minute mark, and it'll be good and dry tomorrow.
Holy shit, that looks nice. Wow, that looks amazing. That's a nice color.
I'm going to shoot this real quick with my mask off. This color turned out way better than I thought it would have. Like that might be a run right there, I don't know. I mean, just it looks really, really nice. Way better than I would have thought. But, with that too, doing a little bit of prep work and sanding your primer down and stuff goes a long way in a final product of painting something. Again, I'm just a rattle can garage guy, but I mean, you can see this. I hope this camera's picking this up. Now granted, remember, we won't see much of this flap at all with the heat sinks on there, but I mean, it looks pretty good. If I wanted to get real crazy, I could sand the base coat smooth and hit it with another layer, and it'd get really flat and take out some of the orange peel, but I don't think I need to. This looks really good, so I may or may not put another coat on here. It laid down really nice, and what I like about doing these paints and stuff that have either like texture or something, as an additive in there, it kind of hides some of your defects. In this case, it did what I wanted to do. It definitely stands out. I think it's going to look good. We'll see what it looks like when it's all done, and I can actually, this is one of those things with this flake in there. You get it out in the sun, it's going to look really, really, really nice. So that is probably it for today. I'm going to hang these up somewhere where they're not hanging from my garage door, and I'll come back tomorrow. All right, I got my paint on. I'm gonna let that do a final dry, like overnight, and see how it's looking in the morning. Paint like that, paint's soft, so I don't really want to be messing with it, trying to mount hardware or anything until I know that it's good and dry and had a solid 24 hours to cure fully, and I might even do 48. So I think that's good for today. I've been at it for about 6-7 hours straight, so I think tomorrow I'll probably go ahead and make my cords. That needs to happen, get the connectors on those, and then also go ahead and see, I got my nice little spot for my mask all day. Definitely want to wear that stuff when you're painting. And two, here I got done, I actually Swiffered my garage to get all the little paint particles and everything up, because I like to keep things clean and everything, and I do a lot of things in my garage, so to include brew beer. I think tomorrow I'll make those cords and probably punch the holes and get the elements mounted in my kettle. So until then, that'll wrap up today.